All glory and praise to our God who is always doing a new thing in us, through us, and for us. Who could have imagined the turn of events that have transpired in our world and in the life of the Christian church? Without a doubt, COVID-19 has become one of those mile markers we will use years to come when referencing the unfinished work of ministry assigned to the Bethlehem Church. With fervent prayer, discernment, along with careful monitoring of federal, state, and local government guidance, we will attempt a gradual or phased re-entry onto the church campus and into the sanctuary. If the Lord is willing, our initial re-entry phase will begin soon. As part of our new normal, we will continue live streaming Sunday service each week to offer a hybrid worship experience for those who are not comfortable worshiping in person. With all of our safety in mind, this initial phase of re-entry requires strict adherence to protocols. However, we will adjust accordingly in consideration of the evolving status of this pandemic. COVID-19 is a moving target that moves the goalpost just when we think we have things figured out. More details about these restrictions will be covered in the following segments of this video. However, in a broad and cursory sweep of my pastoral broom, permit me to share some generalities. First, we would advise that you stay at home if you are ill or you suspect you've been in contact with anyone infected with COVID-19 or the variants. All in-person worshipers will be required to complete a health screening. Next, masks must be worn, covering both mouth and nose while you are inside the building. Everyone must maintain social distancing of 6 feet. Our capacity limitations will be enforced via a registration process for in-person attendance that allows 6 feet social distancing within the sanctuary. Persons who are unable to maintain these protocols may join our virtual live stream worship service via other platforms rather than attend in person. The last 17 months have given all of us a deeper understanding of the spiritual intimacy in worship, as well as the unseen, anticipated joy that emerges when 2 or 3 gather together in our Redeemer's name. Continue to exercise patience and remember that God is not through with you, with me, or His church yet. Be blessed, my Bethlehem family.
Hello, Bethlehem family. We look forward to welcoming our Bethlehem family back to in-person worship service. We've made preparations with your safety in mind to include capacity, masking, and social distancing protocols. In this segment of the video, we'll review the general protocols established for our new normal, which will prepare you for re-entry into the BBC facility. And we'll go into more detail about each of the requirements as we take a walkthrough of our facility later in this video. In-person on-site worship service will be very different from when you left the building last March. Please be mindful of this and continue to pray as we move forward with our re-entry plans. To recap, if you are unable to affirm your health status and comply with our protocols and the requirements discussed, then you may not attend in-person worship service. If you meet the requirements for in-person attendance, you must register online or by phone to attend on-site worship service at Bethlehem. I repeat, you must register in advance to attend in-person worship service. The online registration link will be accessible by way of the BBC webpage to allow a maximum of 100 persons to sign up for worship service. Registration is on a first-come, first-served basis.
The first step is to select a time. Then you are to register. You will choose one of two groups, or you may choose one and the other if you're coming as more than one person in a family group. If you are considered essential support, you will be called upon to provide service as needed. Once you select your number, you register. If you completed the registration previously, your information may be auto-populated. If so, then please confirm that your information is correct. If this is your first time completing the registration, you will be asked to complete your contact information, first and last name, and the email to which your confirmation will be sent to you. All questions must be completed. Will you require special assistance? Do you consent to have your temperature checked? Scroll down to see all of the questions. Have you experienced any of the following symptoms? You agree to immediately alert the health ministry if you do or test positive. Have you been vaccinated for COVID-19? Continue to scroll down. If you are essential support, please show the ministry in which you are supporting. You may uncheck these two boxes if you would like to not receive extra information from Eventbrite. And then you select register. And you will receive this initial confirmation order. From there, you should go to your email box and you should receive a confirmation email. Which lets you know that you have received your registration. Please take the time to read through all of the information in this email, as it contains information on coming to the campus, arriving, entering the church, and dismissal. And if you need to, cancellations. For additional information, please open the attachment, which also has a ticket and the information that is on the registration page, as well as your confirmation email. It is as simple as that. If you have questions, please contact Trustee Allen at 571-213-3444 2, 1. Thank you.
Additionally, persons without access to the internet or a computer may call our registration phone line at 703-360-6453. Leave a message including your full name and phone number. You will receive a call by Saturday each week to finalize the registration process. You may not attend in-person worship service until you are confirmed by the registration team. Please be aware that the registration process includes completion of a health screening form, which will be covered in more detail later in this video overview. This segment of our re-entry overview will focus on what to anticipate upon your arrival at Bethlehem. You may access the Bethlehem main campus by way of the Fordson Road and Sherwood Hall Lane entrances. Please park in alternating parking spaces whenever available. Be sure to put on your mask before exiting your vehicle. Masks must completely cover your nose and mouth. Please line up socially distanced for your on-site health screening. The sanctuary doors will open at 9 a.m. All worshipers are required to be seated in the sanctuary by 9:45 a.m. Worship service will start promptly at 10 a.m. If you arrive after 9:45, you will not be permitted to enter the building. Now, let's review the required health screening for all worshipers at Bethlehem. Your temperature must be taken before entering the sanctuary. Any worshiper with a temperature more than 100.4 degrees will not be allowed to attend in-person worship service. Each worshiper will be required to complete a COVID-19 screening form prior to attending worship service. Each worshiper will be required to acknowledge they are still in compliance with the COVID-19 screening criteria they agreed to upon registering to attend worship service. Please use hand sanitizer upon entry and as needed while inside the facility. We can't emphasize enough the requirement to wear your mask at all times, covering the nose and mouth. Please maintain social distancing throughout the facility. Also, worshipers must refrain from such actions that will compromise our protocols, such as hugging, kissing, shaking hands, except with members of the same household group while attending Bethlehem worship service. And if you experience COVID-19 symptoms within 48 hours of attending a BBC worship service, please call 703-952-1060 and a member of our health ministry will be in contact with you. Once you complete the health screening, your registration status will be confirmed, and you will be directed to wait in line for entrance into the sanctuary. Please adhere to instructions posted on all church signage and media screens. Please remain socially distanced throughout this process. You are encouraged to access the restroom facilities prior to entering the sanctuary. No more than 3 individuals will be allowed access to the restroom at a time to maintain established social distancing. Worshipers entering the sanctuary will be directed by ushers. Family groups will be seated together as registered. Individuals will be seated in pews located at the front of the sanctuary near the altar, filling in all sections, and then towards the back closest to the sanctuary main doors. Again, please adhere to instructions posted on all church signage and media screens. Do not sit in pews marked with an X. You will be socially distanced when seated. Once seated, please do not change to another seat location. If you must use the restrooms during worship service and you are not seated on the end of the pew, please either motion for an usher to assist in clearing the pew so that you do not cross over other worshipers, or you may request that the worshiper step out of the pew to allow you to exit. When exiting the sanctuary during worship service, you must use door number 2 nearest the church office and re-enter by way of the same door while worship service is in progress. During our initial re-entry, Bethlehem's worship service will include a combination of band-led singing along with the incorporation of a vocalist or small choir, not to exceed 6 singers. The vocalist will sing from the choir loft or area as designated by the Minister of Worship and Fine Arts. All band members and vocalists will be required to maintain social distancing and wear masks covering nose and mouth, except when actively speaking or singing. All worship expressions and congregational singing by worshipers should be moderate, with attention given to avoiding contact with fellow worshipers. Media screens will be used for song lyrics and scripture verses until further notice. At the conclusion of worship service and/or once the live stream service ends for in-person service, please remain seated. You will receive direction from the pulpit to follow the usher's directions to exit the sanctuary through multiple designated doors. Please follow the directions of the ushers to allow for an orderly, socially distanced exit. Upon exiting the sanctuary, please proceed out of the building and do not congregate in the narthex. You may continue to use our online remote giving options to contribute your tithes and offerings. Offerings will not be collected during the worship service. In-person worshipers may pick up their communion cup upon entry into the sanctuary. At this time, grapes will not be distributed. We will share together at the communion moment during worship service. At the conclusion of worship service, you may deposit your used cup and Ziploc bag in the designated receptacles. Communion trays will not be passed during the worship service. During our initial re-entry, prospective members may contact the Deacon Ministry at deacons@bethlehemofalexandria.org for assistance. For future re-entry phases, in-person prospective members will be escorted by the deacons to the multipurpose room prior to the benediction for new disciple intake.